I have hit the button, and the little red lights are rolling, and the volumes are going up and down, and things are good and glorious, and welcome everyone to episode whatever the hell, I think 56, I'm not sure, I've lost track, whatever. It's Games Edition, I know that much, because we're talking about games, and that's what I've got up on my screen. So hi, welcome. We're recording on a different day, because Mouse has obligations this weekend, he can't record at our normal scheduled time. And when I asked him what time we should be recording tonight, he told me 5 o'clock my time, and when I asked why, his response was that he and his husband were buying breasts.
But then eventually we realized that the life of Dolly Parton imitators was just not in the cards for us, so we just didn't.
I told him the entire time I just had this vision of a strange, politically inspired, Ayn Rand fueled rant of Some Like It Hot for the 2017 edition of the two of them in drag rating the inauguration today.
Well, I mean, in drag as Ayn Rand, I can't even do the convincing Russian accent.
Well, I didn't say you were in drag as her, but like I said at the end, I just sort of saw you in purple spandex with a mask being all Errol Flynn with the Secret Service. So...
Oh gosh.
These are the things I told him. I'm swearing off oxygen. It clearly has hallucinogenic properties for me.
Well, you're not the only one. Our new First Lady was very well dressed. I'll concede to that. Her daughter, on the other hand, Ivanka, she kind of looked like she borrowed a uniform from the Starship Enterprise, and it's weird. It's like It was like she was one of those dress-up dolls on Flash, and Karl Lagerfeld decided to go have a go at her. It's weird. It was the weirdest fashion thing ever. But
right, I have purposefully not watched the inauguration.
Well, this is not political. I'm talking about fashion.
No. I'm saying I personally have elected not to watch it for personal reasons.
Yes.
But that's my choice.
That's your choice.
So let's just bust this out because I gotta go eat dinner because I'm starving and reasons. All right. First up, I get to go first. Okay,
you get to go first.
Scalebound. 2016, you were a pain in my behind and everyone else is behind. And 2017, I got my eye on you because you're starting off wrong. I had this as my most anticipated game for 2017. Yeah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Scalebound is gone. Platinum Games has kissed it goodbye because Microsoft is elected after 4 years of development delays, and despite it looking sexy as all hell and having 4-player co-op and all that fun crap, Microsoft decided, we're not going to fund this anymore. So yeah, bye-bye Scalebound. Which is, one kick in the can of that was really the only reason I would have an Xbox in 2017 of any variety, be it Xbox One, Scorpio, whatever the hell.
It was a kick in the feels for you.
It was a kick in the feels because this was an Xbox exclusive, and now I question what the point of having any Xbox is, because any game I want to play on Xbox is going to come to PC eventually, so...
Well, sadness. And,
shall we continue with the sadness?
Yeah, so let's continue with the sadness. Indie House in Vancouver. Sadness. After Towerfall, after Skytorn, and after the upcoming release of Nights in the Woods, the 4-year project of indie developers living together in a bizarre social arrangement is coming to an end. They are disbanding and going their separate ways, not for any any acrimonious feelings. In fact, they consider that the experiment that created things like as the games I have mentioned was in fact a success, but now it is now time to go. And one of the upcoming games that's coming out of that is, of course, Night in the Woods, which I kickstarted, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the other one is Wonder Song. So if you go over to Polygon to read the bit of the interview, and just to get a feel of what a unique environment this was, and it kind of shows in how unique the games are. We will be seeing, of course, more games from these developers, but they will no longer be working in an environment where everyone can feed off each other. So that is a little bit sad. So 2017, I'm keeping my eye on you.
Next up, let's move over to the land of Nintendo, shall we? And I'm going to say I'm very proud of myself because, spoiler alert, I've actually spoiler alert. It actually flashes and everything. I'm so proud of myself.
You have a spoiler alert now?
I have a spoiler alert. It's going right now. It's flashing.
Does it make sound?
Do you hear it making a sound?
No.
Well, then it's not making a sound. It's just flashing. People can look. We're a visual medium, okay? And I've said, spoiler alert. I've said it out loud. So
alert.
Even if you're listening. So, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and here's the spoiler alert. Apparently, it's not so much a spoiler alert for the plot, I guess, well, maybe, but the backstory of Breath of the Wild. Apparently, during the Nintendo Switch Treehouse, the special edition of the game was shown, and its various contents, amongst which was a parchment map of Hyrule, on the back of which was a lovely little image of the Calamity Ganon and a bunch of little things, and some text written in Sheikah, the language of one of the races in the game. Zeltic, who is a YouTuber, and several fans have gone and translated what the Sheikah writings said. I encourage you to go and look at his website. I will read it in a minute. But they started off translating it from Sheikah to Japanese and then from Japanese to English. And this will give you the what happened 100 years ago backstory leading into Breath of the Wild. So here's your spoiler alert. I'm going to read it. Hylians pass stories of a destined time long past where multiple races lived and worked together in harmony. The Sheikah tribe's blue aura breathed through the land, and this mutual prosperity continued until a cataclysmic disaster struck. The hero and the princess attempted to seal the terror which became known as the Calamity Ganon. Divine beasts awoke from 4 directions and deployed a mechanical army which made the king and his people fearful. They fractured Ganon's power and sealed him, but the Sheikah were banished from the land ever since. Now, the consensus of this is that apparently during the battle 100 years ago with the Calamity Ganon, Link lost and was nearly killed. And as a result, he was placed into the Temple of Resurrection, and that's where we meet him at the beginning of the game. Is him waking up from the Temple of Resurrection 100 years later. Now he has to fix this problem because apparently the technology, the mechanical beasts that were sent by the Sheikah to subdue Ganon have been taken over by Ganon. And thus, I thank God it's coming to Wii U because I don't want to own a Switch. I don't need another console. I got so many damn consoles in that living room. But thank God it's coming to Switch, and there's no perceivable difference in the 2 games so far. So I'm looking forward to it still. And now I'm going to send a little spoiler alert away, and on to more Nintendo news.
So, the Super Mario Odyssey is set for release this holiday season on Nintendo Switch. The console itself will launch on March 3rd for $300. But if you can't wait to be able to play Super Mario Odyssey, so you can see a tiny little Italian cartoon plumber running around a realistic city with disturbingly realistic people near you, you can always take a look at YouTuber Crowdcat. He has done a little bit of a modding magic with the help of Grand Theft Auto 4 and the mod tools for the PC. He has put Mario in Liberty City, and this will give you a bit of a preview of Super Mario Odyssey. Let me put it this way. Mario should not be in Liberty City, and he should certainly not be getting lap dances. That is an image I will never, ever be able to erase from my mind, and yet somehow I am glad I saw it. Go look for it. If the mod ever gets published on any of the storefronts, I can just see Nintendo taking that down in a snap. I'm surprised that Nintendo actually has not taken down the video.
It's not property they own, technically.
Well, they own Mario. So.
That's a trademark thing. It's not a copyright thing. They can't make a trademark claim.
Oh, you'd be surprised at the things that Nintendo has tried to.
YouTube doesn't have a trademark claim. Sorry, they have a copyright claim.
So, anyways, actually, Super Mario Odyssey looks bizarre, to say the least. It's sort of like a rehash of Sonic Adventure in many ways, and that didn't work out too well, so we'll see how this goes.
My turn?
Your turn.
Moving on to Mass Effect Andromeda. Well, one good thing is they're not going to have a season pass. Does that mean they're not going to have DLCs? No, they're going to have DLCs. More than likely, because, BioWare and stuff like that. But
you mean Electronic Arts?
Yes, well. But one of the things they did let slip by, shall we say mistake, was the pre-order packages, and that apparently was leaked out on their Australian website.
Really?
And got promptly pulled down, but the deluxe edition apparently costs the equivalent of $80 American, more or less. This is translation through a translation through a translation. And the super deluxe edition is roughly $100 American. So let me tell you what you get. Standard edition pre-order bonus: Deep Space Explorer armor, the Nomad skin, and the multiplayer booster pack. 3 things. Deluxe edition pre-order, you get the Pathfinder Elite weapon set, Pathfinder casual outfit, scavenger armor, a pet Pyjack, digital soundtrack, and a multiplayer deluxe launch pack. And then the super deluxe, you get Deep Space Explorer armor, Nomad skin, multiplayer booster pack, Pathfinder Elite weapon set, Pathfinder casual outfit, scavenger armor, pet Pyjack, digital soundtrack, multiplayer deluxe launch pack, and multiplayer super deluxe booster packs. Just a lot of crap. And
or you can just wait a year and
get the complete edition, but
get the not quite Game of the Year edition, but
who knows? It might be Game of the Year edition. But if you got a pre-order, just letting you know, it'll be out in March. So
I'm waiting for
Jim.
I'm waiting for Jim Sterling. Thank God for Jim. Make a video on this.
Still need to do that compilation.
I think it's going to send him raving.
Oh, he's already made his comments on pre-order. That whole thing. I don't know if he's going to bother with this.
Well,
specifically,
he might. There weren't that many for Mass Effect 2. Much pre-order culture, and even Mass Effect 3 that I remember. This might be seen as kind of like the final tainting of BioWare.
Mass Effect, the final taint.
Mass Effect, the giant EA taint. It could, if the game bombs, it could definitely be seen as the beginning of the death knell for a once great studio that got absorbed by Electronic Arts, like so many have in the past.
Anyways, moving on.
To
the first of many things that I had to go hunting for freaking logos for.
Speaking about spooky, as Dame Edna says, have you ever thought about the people you might be talking to on the other side of the computer? Well, this game, called Don't Chat with Strangers, kind of takes those questions and gives you the most unsettling answers. In Don't Chat with Strangers, you are in your room typing to a woman you just met online, because this could go in so many wrong ways, but I like that it went in this specific wrong way, because she's actually a ghost, and depending on how you talk to her, if you piss her off, whoops, swear.
Piss isn't a bad word. You can say piss.
Well, if you piss her off, you're gonna die. This is actually a very, very interesting little game that I recommend. It's over at Steam for $4.99. Get it while you can. It's called Don't Chat with Strangers, and I don't really want to give too much of it away. I have been playing it almost obsessively. So, yeah, go get it. It gets my stamp of frightened approval.
And to segue, I had two topics I could have segued into with this one. I'm going to go with the probably the farther stretch. Call of Cthulhu, the official video game. New trailer was apparently released yesterday, which, you know, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, that would be Thursday the 19th. You can go watch the trailer on YouTube after the show. After the show, I'm talking to you. Apparently, the game follows Private Detective Edward Pierce, who is investigating a murder about a famed artist and his family. And I've seen the trailer, and suffice to say, it does definitely delve into your standard tropes of horror, your big spooky mansions, your, you know, dark tunnels and all that fun stuff, and it's definitely going to play with your sanity for a bit. And it's partially first person, partially third person, and it's going to be coming in 2017, later this year, to PS4, to Xbox, and to PC. And moving on.
Speaking of more indie games, we have Deus 2//Deidia, which is currently available for $9.99 on Steam. And it's a very interesting game, and it has a very interesting concept. You're kind of, you're in an unstable place that is, you know, full of pixels and artifacts, etc. You wander through its landscape, etc. And in order to get ahead, you have to cause glitches and corrupt the environment, because you're actually walking and running through the ruins of an ancient BBS. Now, for those of you who don't know what BBSs were...
Oh, thank you for digging up my memory. I used to run one for years.
Then you can tell the little fetuses what a BBS used to be.
It was a thing in the dark times before the internet. When people actually had to dial up and connect to your computer directly through the phone lines. And sometimes it went across a thing called a modem that was as slow as what was called 300 BPS, which would have taken you...
Shrieked.
It shrieked, and if you wanted to download your favorite episode of anything, it would have taken you 3 years.
Oh, the golden ages.
And I ran one for years.
And you had different you had all sorts of different interests, and you had little online games that you could play. You know, you could dial in, play.
They were basically message boards, except you dialed into a specific computer to do it. And
many of them were also used to pirate games and distribute software and shareware and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that is the take on this game. You are actually kind of like a little cybernaut in the ruins of a BBS. So
it's a Tron flashback.
It's a what?
It's a Tron flashback.
It is kind of a Tron flashback. So go ahead, and if you want to find out more about BBSs and what the culture of the time was like, there is one book that I definitely recommend. You can find it on Amazon Kindle and Barnes & Noble, whatever they call it, the Nookie. What's it called?
The Nook.
The Nook. That thing.
The Nookie.
The Tanuki. No, the Nookie. No Nookie
Please
for you.
don't call it the Tanuki, because that's a whole can of worms.
Yes, it is.
I was going to say it's a whole other ball game, but that would have been really bad.
Not saying that you didn't say it is still saying it.
Look it up.
No.
Look it up.
Look it up. Yeah. Gosh, no. The book is called Commodore, as in Commodore Dork, but one word. Sordid Tales from a BBS Junkie.
For those who don't know what a Commodore is, it was an old computer.
There used to be these things
we used to
called
have
floppies.
Amigas. We used to have Commodores. I owned an Atari for a very long time.
Atari ST 1040.
XLs. I had XLs.
So that's my little bit of cultural tidbit for you. Look up this book. It's actually quite good. It's well written. It's basically this guy who is going through. He still has working Commodores, and he's going through his library.
Land of non sequitur. Land of non sequitur.
Oh no, because it talks about BBS and it's talking to US culture.
Yes,
So
let's
look for this book.
look for the book. And last of my topics, although not last of the day, this is the other one I could have tied into Mouse's "Don't Talk to Strangers" theory. Necrobarista is a game that has been announced by it's a new studio. They apparently started off doing student projects, and this is their first commercial project. Currently scheduled for release in October. Not a lot of details have been released, but apparently it is a somewhat anime 3D style. It's very striking, and basically they refer to a supernatural cafe where the living come to mingle with the dead. And so they show some of the they've got a trailer on YouTube again. Go look after the show.
After the show.
And some of the characters they show gangsters and hipsters, and then a necromancer, and then the barista, who is, I guess, the protagonist of the game. So it is a very weird looking game, and it's supposed to be a supernatural visual novel in Unity 3D. So we'll see what this is, but it looks weird and kind of cool looking. And I'm sure Mouse will like it if he sees it.
Oh, I have seen it. It's in my to-get list.
Oh, well, see, then there you go. And last but not least,
Milkmaid of the Milky Way, talking about bloody weird games.
And this coming on the heels of me seeing him talking about wanting to buy breasts.
About what?
I said this. I didn't read your topic list until you told me that you wanted to buy breasts, and I'm like, what?
Okay, so Milkmaid of the Milky Way is an adventure game. It's an old-style clicky adventure game. It's written entirely in rhyme, and it takes place in the 1920s. This milkmaid who aspires to...
Thank you,
aspires...
God.
Thank you, God. Aspires to more. Fortunately for her, an alien ship just, happens to come by and changes everything. It's very light-hearted. It's very, very charming. It's light and fun, and you can get it for $7.99 on Steam. You can go and look at the games site. They also have a Facebook page. They have a YouTube account and Twitter, so they're all up in the social media. I would definitely recommend it. It's just kind of kooky, lighthearted fun that might help us all in days to come.
And that's all we got, kids. That's it.
That's it.
That be all. So we're gonna say goodbye, and next week pardon me, I've got a hiccup because I haven't eaten.
He's getting hangry.
I'm gonna go eat food in a minute. Next week we'll be back with the Media Week, and as always, if you like what you see here, hit the magic follow buttons down below, subscribe, do all the things, and also hit the bell because YouTube wants you to hit the bell to remember when things come up. Whatever. But for you 5 out there who watch us on a regular basis, and this is why I dream of him in freaking movies and drag. Anyways, so thanks guys for coming out, and we will see you next time.
Toodles.